Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the one and only Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my manservant, Bertrum. And this, my dear friends, is the moment you have all been waiting for. My review for Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. Don't ask me why the fuck I have two copies of the same game. Don't you dare ask me. So, Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, originally released for the PlayStation 3 back in 2013. But the version I am reviewing for you today, in this day and age, is the PlayStation 4 version, which is in no way different to the PlayStation 3 version at all. So, what is Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear viewer. It is what we call in the industry an MMO, which stands for middling, minor, something. Anyway, it's a game that you play online. And this was not the first time that there was an online game released in the Final Fantasy universe. In fact, it wasn't even the second time. You see, the first time was Final Fantasy XI, which you might have played, you probably haven't. The next was the original version of Final Fantasy XIV, just called Final Fantasy XIV, which was a complete and utter mitigated disaster, so they thought, let's wipe that shit up and start again, flush the toilets, so to speak. And here we have Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. I tell you, I'm not going to get bored saying the full title. You're probably going to hear me say it, at least another 20 times in this review. So, this current incarnation of Final Fantasy XIV has been around for about 7 years now. There have been various expansions to the game, but I'm not looking at them because I don't want to. So, I'm just going to review for you the base game, the main storyline, Final Fantasy XIV. What was it called again? Ah, yes, A Realm Reborn. And what is the story about? Well, it's your usual Star Wars bullshit. You're some new hero that the country's all been waiting for. You start off in a hub world doing mediocre tasks. Eventually you build up your reputation. You become God's gift to women. You know, the best thing since sliced bread or sliced chocobo or whatever takes your fancy. You know, there's an empire, which is the bad guys. I'm sure you've heard all of this before. So you eventually take on the Empire at the end of the game. Spoilers! And you figuratively and literally kick their ass. Now, I have played every single one of the Final Fantasy games. Yes, I have, Bertrum. I have so played all the Nintendo DS ones. Yes, and I also played the PSP once. Yes, and I played all the... Shut up, Bertrum! So yes, I have played all of the Final Fantasy games. So, I am equipped to give you my unadulterated opinion on Final Fantasy XIV. And what did I think of it? Well, to put it mildly, frankly, I had a better time at my bar mitzvah. No, I wasn't the one being circumcised. I was the one performing the circumcision. Not that I'm saying that the game doesn't have any good qualities, but I can definitively say that this was the dullest Final Fantasy game I have ever played. And I have played Final Fantasy 23, watching paint dry. so I know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not that the story isn't great. The story stuff is great. But in between all of that, you have to do all these side quests. You know, menial tasks. Fetch this, fetch that. I mean, as I said, the story stuff is great. It's all the fluff in between that I can't stand. Imagine, if you will, it would be like making love to a beautiful woman. Well, not any woman except for my wife. Yes, it'd be like making love to a beautiful woman, and every few seconds some idiot brings you a sandwich that you must eat before you can continue on with the lovemaking. Now, it's not that I don't appreciate sandwiches, mind you. Well, maybe if it was a toasted sandwich, I wouldn't mind as much. Anyway, what was I saying? Ah, yes. What's that, Bertram? You think you might be an insomniac? No, my friend, no. You're what we call a necrophiliac. Yes. The game is so bogged down with making you perform these menial tasks so that you can level up in order to take on the next story mission. I swear, I felt like a female dog half the time. Everyone's bitch. Carry this, fetch that, scratch my back, scratch my wife's back, cook my dinner, sing for me the greatest hits of fucking Queen. But you'll be happy to hear that the game does pick up a fair amount of momentum towards the end of the storyline. Perhaps in the last 10 hours or so, the game becomes much more something fit to bear the name of Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. You see, I haven't said the title of the game quite enough in the review, even though I promised that I would, so I thought I would throw in one more just for your benefit. Of course, this being an MMO, as I've already explained, stands for Mega Minority. Anyway, online RPG. This being an online RPG, you can probably expect that you're going to have to team up with players online to take on dungeons, etc. So yes, that is here in the game, present and correct, and I do believe that is PvP as well, which, as you all know, stands for please very punctual. Anyway, whatever it means that you can basically fight against other players online. And who doesn't enjoy a good fight, after all? I like to have a fight with my wife, often. In fact, while I've been recording this review, I have had a record-breaking 12 arguments with my wife. I think she's leaving me now and taking the children with her. But alas, the show must go on. So if you are a fan of Final Fantasy or of online RPGs, I can tell you that you can now play Realm Reborn completely free of charge without taking out one of those pesky subscription thingies. So you've got absolutely no excuse but to go onto your PlayStation right now, or your bloody PC, or your fucking Xbox, and download Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and give it a try for yourself. Just maybe expect to sleep through more than 50% of the game. So, what's that, Bertram? What? Speak up, man, I can't hear you. Oh, yes. And Bertram has just reminded me that I have to make you aware that this game contains microtransactions. Like so many games these days, but what are you gonna do, eh? Haha, that Bertram, I told them. Shut up. So, I'm going to give Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn a 6.5, 0.3, 0.7, 0.4 out of 10. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my review for Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. If you have enjoyed this review, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, give me the middle finger. Please feel free to leave some abuse for me in my comments section. Perhaps send me some of your excrement in the post, eh? And until next time, remember, and stay obsessed with gaming. Ka